Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, and thank you for tuning back into St. Andrew TV, a cure for your Monday blues. As many of you may know, we have covered my Wild West hat collection on this channel, but the thing that we have never covered, and it's going to be new today, is my Wild West firearm collection. And on top of all that, we are going to show you the Red Dead Redemption 2 equivalent of the real life firearm. I have compiled 6 firearms that we will go over briefly, and I will also show you the counterpart that is in the Red Dead Redemption universe. So let's get to it. So how we are going to compartmentalize this video is we are going to start off with handguns, move to rifles, and then shotguns to keep everything nice and neat for everyone. But without further ado, here is the first firearm in the Wild West collection. And then after I get done describing it to everyone, I will tell you the Red Dead Redemption 2 counterpart. This is the Colt Single Action Army, otherwise known as the Colt Model 1873. This is a 3rd generation Colt Single Action Army, and it is chambered in .45 Colt. This has a 4 3/4 inch barrel, and as you can see, the cylinder does not have fluting, which is not standard for a Colt Single Action Army. But as you look at the cylinder, you notice that this is a Buffalo Bill commemorative piece. This holds 6 metallic cartridges, and it is a single action, which means you cock the hammer like that and let it go, and 1 projectile will leave the barrel. The Red Dead Redemption 2 equivalent would be the Cattleman revolver, which is, I think, the stock gun in the online and the base game. So here it is, the Colt Single Action Army. The second one we have here, and you see this in most of my videos in terms of gun spinning and other things of that nature, is the Uberti Cattleman 2 1873. This is an Italian reproduction of the gun you just saw, the Colt Single Action Army. It has a 4 3/4 inch barrel, and this one actually does have a fluted cylinder, and it is chambered in .45 Colt. However, this one is the ombre model, which is why it has that matte black finish. I think the new ones that they have come out with are called the Pistolier. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe that's what they're called. And it does the exact same thing as the Colt Single Action Army. You cock the hammer, and you pull the trigger, 1 projectile leaves the barrel, hence single action. This piece is pretty true to form. The only thing I would notice is a little different is there's not 4 clicks of the hammer, and the hammer is relatively easier to manipulate, meaning that there's not as much pressure that goes behind cocking this in particular firearm, and I guess in accordance to the Colt Single Action Army. But for about 1/5 of the price, you have something that is aesthetically and internally roughly about 85% the same. This would also be a Cattleman in Red Dead Redemption 2. But this is the Uberti Cattleman 2 1873. Now we are going to move on to rifles, and this is the Winchester Model 1894 lever action rifle. As you can see, this is a variant. This is a Canadian Centennial piece. Canada celebrated its centennial in 1967, and that is exactly what this was made for. You can see the maple leaf engravings on the receiver here. It has Canadian Centennial right here, and overall just a beautiful rifle to commemorate 100 years of our friends to the north. This has a 20-inch octagonal barrel, and as I said, it is a lever action, which means you hit that lever forward and it will chamber a round into your barrel where it'll hit the primer with this hammer here, and you will fire a metallic projectile, which it is chambered in 30-30 Winchester. This is a post-64 model, so there are changes to the pre-64 model. I know this because this was manufactured in 1967, hence the Centennial. And as you can see, there is some leather that I got custom fitted for this rifle in particular. There's a bear paw on the rear stock here, and another bear paw on the sling with my initials on it. Technically, the Lancaster repeater in Red Dead Redemption 2 is the model 1866 Winchester. However, if you change some of the colors of the metals and the stock, you can make it look like a later model, such as the 73, 86, or 94. And that's exactly what I did. I put black and steel on the barrel and receiver, added some engravings, and made the stock a little bit more uniform with the one that I have here. Once you do all that, you're not really going to notice that it is just a colorful 1866. That is mainly the only difference between the 1866 and later models that you will pick out aesthetically. Now, the mechanisms and everything that goes into the actual operation of the firearm might feel a little bit different. However, I digress, and this is the Winchester Model 1894 lever action rifle. Now, this one's going to be a transitional piece between rifles and shotguns because this is the Traditions 54 caliber percussion blunderbuss. It shoots out of its 16 3/4 inch trumpet style barrel a 54 caliber projectile. You can load this with a game load, which would be more efficient than shooting a big 54 caliber ball out of it. As you can see, there's no rear sights and no front sights, so shooting it accurately with a ball from a great distance would be a far cry. But after all, this is nicknamed the poor man's shotgun, so a game load would probably be more beneficial to you. This is a percussion cap rifle or a percussion cap shotgun, which means that when you pull this hammer back, there should be something called a nipple fun that you place your cap on. So when you pull the trigger, the hammer falls down, ignites a spark, which sends the spark into the barrel, which lights your black powder and fires out a projectile. Now, I know what you're thinking. Old heads on the channel are saying, wow, Andrew, you really haven't done much with this blunderbuss since you got it. Yes, I am aware. I have not gotten around to putting a stain on it or bluing the barrel in any way because I'm having troubles with the trigger resetting because you can fire it once and then nothing else happens. The trigger will not reset and the hammer won't set the trigger. So we are having some issues, and if anybody knows how to fix that, please leave it down in the comment section. Now, funny enough, there is a blunderbuss that exists in the Red Dead Redemption universe, and you have to go all the way back to 2010 and go to the first Red Dead Redemption's DLC named Undead Nightmare. After you pick up a few supplies for Nigel West Dickens, he will reward you with a blunderbuss. And even John has some select words for how outdated, even in 1911, this contraption would be.
A blunderbuss? Is this a joke? What is this, 1850?
But anyway, this is the Traditions 54 caliber blunderbuss. Now moving into shotguns, you can see here that I have a Browning Auto 5. These were produced in 1902, and the original manufacturing place was Belgium, and designed by John Browning, of course. It is a 12 gauge with a 28-inch barrel. This is also a recoil-operated semi-auto shotgun. It uses kinetic energy to rechamber a round. So when you slide this open, you feed your rounds up through here, and actually when you feed the first round in, it should go up into the chamber here, and slide shut just like that. I know what everybody's thinking who is a history nerd such as myself. 1901 marked the date that ended the Victorian era. This was produced in 1902. However, this does make an appearance about 3 years prior to its manufacturing date in Red Dead Redemption 2. This is called the semi-auto shotgun in the game. I have no idea how they got their hands on it in 1899. Maybe they got a prototype, but it makes a little bit more sense down in the epilogue, which is based in 1907. So this is the Browning Auto 5 12 gauge shotgun. And last but certainly not least, This is the Winchester Model 1901 repeating shotgun. Repeating standing for lever action. This one barely squeaks by, as we did mention that the Victoria ended in 1901. However, we probably know his older brother even better, which is the Model 1887. This shoots a 10 gauge shell out of a 32-inch barrel, and the reason why they only chambered the Model 1901 in 10 gauge is because Winchester in 1897 produced a pump action shotgun that, if you look at the dates, was only 4 years old at the time, and they didn't want to suppress sales from that shotgun. So they produced this in 10 gauge so they didn't lose out on sales on the pump action shotgun. But another reason why the 1901 was developed is because the old Model 1887 could not handle the strength of the new smokeless powder that was coming about. Like I said earlier, this is lever action, so you cock the lever and it feeds a shell up into the chamber like this, and you close it, it cocks, and then you fire. Technically, the one that you see in Red Dead Redemption 2 is a Model 1887. However, if you go into the gunsmith and extend that barrel out a little bit and change some of the colors around, boom, you have a Model 1901. However, a Model 1901 wouldn't make much sense in a game that's set in 1899, but maybe you can do it for the epilogue, which is based in 1907. But nonetheless, this is the Winchester Model 1901 lever action shotgun. And thus concludes our video today of Wild West guns that are also found in Red Dead Redemption 2. Like I said, we bridged the gap here because I have gotten into another spell of playing Red Dead Redemption 2 online and getting myself into a couple fights with other players, and I actually used some of the weapons in-game that I just showed you here today. Obviously, this was a more brief video of just the collection itself, and I know that I've done more specialized videos for the Colt Single Action Army and the Winchester Model 94 in previous videos, but I haven't got a chance to go out to the range and actually fire the Browning or the Winchester Model 1901, so I will do a more specialized video on those in the upcoming months on this channel. Now let's be real, I couldn't do a showcase video if I couldn't get out to the desert and blow up some pumpkins or some watermelons with a shotgun shell, right? Anyway, please leave a like if you've enjoyed today's video, or leave me a comment stating what you liked, or tell me what I should do next. I have recently opened up a Patreon. I do take pride in being fan-funded and fan-funded only. You will never see a sponsorship on this channel, and I hope to keep it that way. I do have a firm belief that we are the best community here on YouTube, but do not feel obligated to donate, only if your means allow you to do so. Regardless, the content will forever remain free. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed as of late, but for those of you who have come across this video because you were curious about what gun you used in Red Dead Redemption and what its real-life counterpart looked like, or maybe you just came across this video because you like Wild West firearms in general. Maybe you came across the thumbnail and saw that I have Squishmallows over my shoulders here and thought, I wonder where he got those. Think about hitting that subscribe button, because you're a daisy if you do.